Hello, enamel artists. It's me, Sandra McEwen, and today we're going to be talking about sample strips. Now, I make sample strips of all of my colors, and it's one of my pure pleasures is making sample strips. I have samples of all of my leaded enamels that I use every day, as well as, look how generous a teacher I am. I've made all of these samples of unleaded Thompson and other unleaded enamels as well. And it's one of the most important things that you can do as an enamel artist to make sure that you get the most out of the colors and your kiln and your equipment. So we're going to be making sample strips today. So let's get started. I am always on the lookout for new colors in enameling, and whenever I find a new color, the first thing that I do is I make a sample strip. That is going to give me a lot of information about not just in general the quality of that color, but that specific batch of enamels that I have. And prepare to be very jealous because I was just given, a wonderful friend of mine has cleared out her enamel studio, and she has given me all of these Thompson enamels, and they're really heavy. And they're for me, and I'm very excited about them because these are all discontinued leaded Thompson enamels. And so I have it's so much. So many enamels. Anywho, what I want to do, I've kind of organized them into these 3 bins, and some I'm going to keep, some I'm going to sell, but the first thing that I want to do to see exactly what I have here is I'm going to be making sample strips, because it's going to give me the information as to which enamels I want to keep to use in my own work and which ones I want to unload. And they come in all, I mean, she has so many, they're all labeled. It's a combination of opaques and transparents and opalescents and little jars, and here's a big jar, you know. And so I've been waiting, I got these about a month ago, and I've been waiting for the time to really spend and make samples of maybe not all of them, but as many as I can. Well, I've decided that I'm going to make 36 samples today, and I make my samples out of fine silver because I work in fine silver. If you primarily work on copper or another metal, I would encourage you to make your samples out of the metal that you work with. It seems like it might be a little bit expensive to make these out of silver, but it's a great investment because it gives me a really solid sense of how every one of my colors is going to react to silver. So you could, to save money, I suppose, make these on copper and use some silver foil. Certainly a budget-friendly alternative, but if you can, I encourage you to make them out of silver if you work in silver. This is 22 gauge fine silver sheet that I've cut into these little strips that are 1/2 inch by 1 inch, and I found that that's just a nice size to get a good sense of what the color is. Touching silver over a coat of clear and over gold leaf. And so I have just lightly sanded them front and back, and I'm going to go ahead and counter enamel them, put 2 coats of black enamel on the reverse, and that will make sure that they last a long time without cracking. So it's worth to counter enamel these so they last a little bit longer. And I'm just going to use some opaque black 1996. It doesn't make any difference what you counter enamel with. It's whatever you like to have, and I just happen to have this around. So let us just go ahead, and I'm sure that you can also do these you know, in multiples, but it kind of makes a big mess, so I tend to just kind of do them one at a time. Boop, boop, boop. And we're going to do 2 coats, so let us do that. And so without further ado, I'll do a couple more of these, and then I will probably finish up off camera because this is going to be not hugely exciting to see, but exciting to do. You should definitely take pleasure in every aspect of enameling because that's when you really get the most out of it. These little mundane things that bring deep pleasure. One more, and then we will. There we go. And this counter enamel is unleaded, and you should wear a respirator when you are sifting. I will be right back. Well, alrighty, so I have put 2 coats of black counter enamel on the reverse of all these pieces, and they're very satisfyingly uniform at this point. So they have 2 coats of black on the back, and they are still just solid silver on the front. And what I want to do is I want to put some clear enamel over 2/3 of this, because I want to have bare silver for 1/3 of the piece, and then I'm going to put a clear flux enamel on 2/3 of the piece. And that's going to be for when, because I really want to know if the color when I use my sample is going to react to the silver, because silver doesn't necessarily play well with some colors, and that is some information that I would like to have. And so the easiest way of just getting it on 2/3 is to, I can kind of do a couple of these at the same time. We'll do like 4. Oh, and I'm going to do, I don't know if you can see that, N3 clear for silver. This is Japanese leaded clear. It's kind of my go-to clear. And the easiest way is kind of to put them like that. And I've got a little clear fire here. And let's see if I can do this upside down. And I'm going to kind of hold them, and I'm just going to paint on about 2/3 of the way. There we go. Arrange them. See if you can do more. And then just for the sake of keeping nice and clean on that, and I'm just going to cover with a little piece of paper right there, and go ahead and sift on like that. And then I just gently do this, you know, and then you can see we've got most of it pretty good. And then, you know, you can kind of clean it up with your finger as well. I just kind of, you know, just wipe it off, and then just carefully set it on the trivet as we go. And so that, and just 1 coat of this clear will be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with all of these 36 pieces, and be back very soon for the next step. Very exciting. Welcome back. As you can see, we have, I say we, the royal we, I have fired these pieces, and so they have clear enamel on about 2/3 and some bare silver exposed on one side, and obviously they're all counter enameled, and they're all nice and ready to go. We have one last step before we actually make our samples, and I want to go ahead, because I like to see how it looks on the bare silver. I like to see how it looks over a clear enamel, and then I want to see how it looks over gold foil leaf. And so I'm going to go ahead and apply gold foil leaf to the final third of this sample. All right, well, the gold leaf that I'm using is 24 karat. This is GF3, which unfortunately has been discontinued, and I don't have a ton left, and so this is kind of a painful process. They have a replacement that's a little thicker. I just don't like it as much. And so when I cut my gold leaf, you can see I've already kind of marked out the sizes that I'm going to cut it. I cut it between 2 pieces of paper, because if you don't, it's going to stick to the gold leaf is going to stick to the silver. And so I just am making a bunch of little strips like that, and we'll keep going. So I've cut all these little pieces of gold leaf here. You can see how delicate they are, and I am going to attach them to my little pieces of sample strips using just a little clear fire. I've got some right here, and the easiest way to pick up these pieces is to use a brush. So I'm just going to brush a little bit of clear fire on right here. And then I'm going to pick up the piece of gold foil with my brush and check to make sure it's not stuck to the piece of paper. And then I'm just going to set that right like that. There we go. And this piece is now ready to have a sample. I don't fire anything, I don't fire any clear on top of this gold. I'll just fire whatever color I want to use for my sample on top of this. And so this one is ready to go. Let me just do a couple because they're super fun. Make sure you put it on this. I'm putting it over the clear enamel. So don't accidentally put it on the bare metal because that would defeat the purpose. So you can just gently, and manipulating this gold leaf kind of just takes a little bit of practice. I'm going to do one more. And then we will actually finally, after all this work, make some actual sample strips. Well, so there we go. So beautiful. And I love the gold leaf. It's so satisfying to use. All right, one more. I know. There we go. One more. Let's pick this one up. This one's a nice one. There we go. You want to just make sure there's no air bubbles under there. And you can make these and kind of store them in a box and just make sure that, you know, the dust doesn't get on them. And, you know, these, as long as you don't mess with them, they'll be fine. So anyway, the next step is going to be actually sifting some colors on these. Alrighty, so you can see that I am ready to actually start making some samples. And I have kind of set up my stage. I'm going to do 12 samples at a time because I have 36 total. And I can actually, I've got these lovely sawhorse trivets which will hold 4 in each. And so I can fit 3 on the plate and easily do 4 3 sets of 4, so 12. And so I kind of, because when we do this many colors, it's really easy to get confused. And so what I do is I set them up exactly how they're going to go on the trivet, and I keep them on the trivet like this. And I kind of make sure I don't do a whole bunch of very similar colors in the same batch, because if I drop one or I misplace one, if I have a hole, if I do all pinks, it's going to be too subtle, and you won't be able to know which one was which. So I have, like, I kind of picked out like some really interesting color, like such beautiful names like Sunshine and Russet, Chinchilla, Amulet, Honey Gold, Lettuce. And so with each of these little things, I have my sample right here. I've got a little tiny sifter, and I have the actual sample of what I have. And I have written down on the piece of paper exactly what the sample is, so I don't get confused. And I'm writing, these might be incorrectly labeled, but I'm going with whatever label is on the actual sample that I have is what I'm writing down, because it doesn't matter if it's been mislabeled, it matters what I have. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of each sample into the sifter, and I'm going to sift all these on and fire them. And I'm going to definitely wear my respirator when I do this. All right, we're going to do that. All right, I think I'm going to start with khaki. Oh, and if it sounds like I'm all muffled, it's because, look, I'm actually wearing my thing, because safety first. Wait, hold on. Safety first. Anyway, we're going to start with khaki, mine as well. Kind of a boring color, but let's see what it is. And I'm going to just kind of scoop out a little bit and put it in the sifter. And let that sit right there. And I'm going to sift twice. Obviously, I'm going to sift once, fire everything, and sift, because I want a total of 2 coats over this whole thing. So I just want a nice, even coat, not too heavy. Set that right there. And then I'm going to transfer this over to the trivet like this. So this color will go there, this one will go here, and this one will go there. And the next one is Honey Gold. Let's see what that is about. It looks really good. Let me clean off my little thing and get a little bit of that. Cover this. I like to keep things covered. You never know what's going to fall in. And let's sift a little Honey Gold. There we go. So anyway, I'm going to continue on with, let's see, that one goes right there. See, it's so easy to get confused. And so these things are labeled. You just have to try to keep things in order. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and get these all finished, and I will see you on the other side of this process. And voila, here we have our finished sample strips. There are some surprises in here, and some, there's some kind of sleeper hits, And there's a lot of information that I've gotten by making these sample strips. I'm going to just show you one, which is kind of a good example. Let's see if we can see this right there. This is a beautiful little pink, and you can see this pink is pretty reactive to the silver. This is where it is over the raw silver, and it's kind of a nice blush pink over the clear. A little bit of speckling, looks very pale. It almost gets entirely lost over the gold, but that's a solid pink. You know, we got some really nice pinks and reds down here. One of the big surprises and kind of disappointments was this, which I thought I already had a sample strip of it, and so I was expecting it. This is my original sample strip here on the right. You could see I was expecting this sample to look like this, but I think that either one of these, because these were both old enamel colors that are discontinued, and I'm pretty sure that they're not the same. They're either the same color but from vastly different you know, stores, or they're actually, one of them's been misnamed. So I was hoping to get this with this one, and this isn't a terrible red, but it's not, this is just such a beautiful ruby red. So this was kind of a big disappointment for me personally. But oh, look at this beautiful purple. I don't use a lot of opaques, but this was just such a pretty color. It's heliotrope opaque, and it's just, I've never seen such a pretty kind of like a red purple, so probably going to hold on to that. This purple was super reactive. This is deep purple, and you can see it's actually a really beautiful shade, but it's so reactive to the silver that even like bleeding onto the clear enamel here, it's like just dark brown. So it's probably not a purple that I'm going to put into my rotations, which is disappointing, unless I'm working entirely on gold with gold wire. But even then, I mean, this is such a beautiful shade of purple right here. It's just kind of a little disappointing. Some beautiful, let's see, what else do we have? Some beautiful blues, which I'm very thrilled about. These are all lovely. What is that? Tropic blue, doesn't even have a number. And some of these greens are very charming, so they'll definitely, this one is especially pretty right here. I think that's leaf green. Yes, 412. That's definitely going into my rotation, as this is really pretty. That is shamrock. Very pretty. And let's see what else. Oh, there were some huge disappointments too. Like, look at this one. Sorry, don't mean to make them all messy now. This, I don't even, like, seriously. Sorry, I dropped it. This was, it's shower actually, golden yellow. And look, it's like turned this weird, there's like all this pock marking. So I'm not sure what happened here, but this is definitely not a color I'm going to be working with in the future. I might make one more sample just to confirm, because look, this, I've never seen anything as weird as this. So very disappointing. Oh, and one last sleeper hit was this one. I think it's this one. Yeah, this, I thought it was going to be opaque periwinkle, but it turned into a beautiful opalescent periwinkle. So the O meant opalescent. So that is a gorgeous color as well. Love this brown, love this yellow. These two look exactly the same to me, but they're different. This one is mauve 240, and this one is 460 honey beige. They both look a bit opalescent-y to me, but yeah, it's good to know. So anyway, these are why we make sample strips, and I'm very excited about these, and it's given me some new colors for my palette, and some information about some other pieces that maybe I'm not going to really use. Anyway, so that is the, oh, and let me show you this opal. This is a really pretty opalescent white, which I'm definitely going to try to get some more of. It's really a nice milky white. A little bit reactive, but that's all right. On top of clear with some gold wire, it'd be just really gorgeous. So I'm looking forward to working with this one as well. That is 835 opal white. So anyway, that, oh, here's another one. I don't mean to be like, honey gold is really pretty. That's a really pretty color too. So anyway, so we had a lot of fun making these sample strips, and I encourage you to spend the time to make sample strips of your own enamel colors, and you will not be disappointed. They can't all be winners, but it's good to see what you have. And I feel like I've done a good deed for these enamels. They've been sitting in jars for so many years. It's good to air them out and see what they are. So that is all today, and thanks for watching. Oh, and there's more information on my website, sandramcEwen.com. Thanks again. Bye.